this training video, we're going to talk about scanning ahead and why we should do it. Now, there's a number of reasons why we should, but the main one is for our own safety and safety of other people coming towards us. So on a good spring day like this in New Plymouth, where we've got rain and a mixture of sunshine, we should be scanning ahead further than we normally would. The best teaching we do is from a plan A through to a plan Z. So if we're thinking plan A is our immediate horizon or our red zone, we can only react to that. We can't do a lot about it. We're quite reactive. It's in our space. In the mid-range, our yellow zone, think of it like a traffic light or orange, we are thinking ahead as to what's coming around us and thinking a bit further in advance. Right through to plan Z, in our green zone, we're hoping to think of things that we aren't even going to need to use. So we're scanning driveways, we're scanning for vehicles, different things. Chances are we're never even going to need to use them, and hopefully not. So when it comes to the actual philosophy behind it, or thinking behind it, it's actually a fine motor skill, and it's motor rehearsal for our brain. So if we actually think ahead and we're thinking what we may need to do, the chances are we won't need to do it, which is awesome, plan A. But if we need to do it, the chances are we'll be reacting before our brain or our thought patterns even caught up. So our brain will be sending signals to our feet, to our hands, and we'll start doing stuff in the car to the reactions that we've already pre-rehearsed or thought of, which is absolutely ideal. Hopefully we never need to use them. So in this video we're going to show you how that looks in the real world. Rather than just scanning in our immediate horizon, we're going to scan further out, and I'll give you some commentary on how we're going to do it and things that I'm looking at, or things that at Driver we teach. We're trying to teach our drivers. So in this video we're going to talk about scanning ahead. Now if you remember back to your days of you learn a driver or restricted driver sort of training, and even when you got your full license, the instructor most likely got you to do a commentary drive, which is trying to instill the habit of looking ahead and actually verbalizing what we're seeing. For us in the real world, and to take that one step even further and make us a far better driver, we should actually scan further and further ahead than what we actually would have done in those days. The trick to it is actually what we call a red, orange and green, as in traffic lights. So what's immediately in front of us, as in if you're looking at us now, the grey car in front of me and the red car is basically in our red zone. If we're travelling at road speed, we can't do a lot about that. We end up being in a reactive phase. Further ahead, as in the vehicles coming towards us, is sort of in our orange lane, so they're certainly going to take some time and some things to consider. And then further up the road is our green zone, which is basically scanning further ahead and making ourselves aware of what's coming. So if we're looking now, our immediate hazards obviously are our vehicles, the roundabout, vehicles coming the other way, and obviously weather today is not such an issue because it's nice and fine and dry. As we sort of scoot off the roundabout, the hazards change, so we're opening up. Immediately in our red zone there's nothing actually. We're quite clear, good following distance, but in our orange zone further ahead we've got intersections coming up, so we need to start thinking of these as we move along. Now the trick to it is, if we've actually, as the brain works, it comes down to muscle memory. So if we've actually thought about a problem and thought about a solution before we need to use it, it will come to a second nature, and you'll find that if we actually get in trouble or we have to react fast, then our feet and our hands will start reacting faster than our brain can actually process the response. So things like a nice clear road ahead of us now, if we think about the immediate stuff in front of us, which is literally just the road in front of us, looking 50 or 60 metres, there's not a lot, and we don't have to do a lot, but it's a bad habit to be in. We should be driving and looking as far ahead as we can and constantly scanning. So at Driver we talk about teaching a plan A through to plan Z. So as in thinking from start through to finish, best and worst case scenario. It's not a doom and gloom way of thinking, it's just trying to make sure we've thought about stuff that hopefully won't even become a problem. So for example, a road like this, there's not a lot in front of us, so people tend to switch off. This is where people get distracted, or we start looking at the scenery or talking to people. But there is a number of hazards that we're looking at that could potentially be there. Now, the train of thought is the plan Z could be as far as thinking even these driveways that are coming up on us could have something coming out of them. Obviously we've got hazards coming to us all the time, but we're thinking further ahead, is there a tractor going to pull out? Is there a kid going to be kicking a ball, chasing a ball out of here? Someone just backing out onto the road. So if we get out of the habit of just thinking right in front of our nose and in front of the bonnet of the car and thinking long term, so for me I'm looking as far ahead as I can. I've counted 6 or 7 driveways along there, and I'm thinking what might come out of those driveways. Chances are nothing will, but if we actually think about it and think what we'd do as a response if something did, if the hazard came up to us, we're going to react a whole lot quicker and a whole lot safer. And if we're only talking a couple of seconds or even a half a second of danger, or time to respond to the danger. If we've already thought about it and planned it, then our response time is immediate, instantaneous. So we're actually, the risk is far reduced from what it could have been. So now we've talked a little bit about how to do it and what the train of thought pattern is, as in we're looking way further ahead than what we normally would. Let's just do it for a minute. So once we hang a left here, I'll give you what I'm looking at from our train of thought and what I'm trying to relay to people that we're teaching to drive. So now obviously the obvious things are the vehicles coming the other way. They're our immediate hazard, they're in our red zone, we're going to have to react to those, and if we do, we're going to have to react really quickly. But for me now, I'm looking as far ahead as I can. So I've seen the vehicles coming towards us, the intersection on the right, and the vehicle that I'm following, all of which are hazards. So those ones are past us now. So now we're looking for the new set. So now we're looking as far ahead as we can. So we've got driveways, we've got a corner that I can't see the apex or the exit out of yet, so that's still a hazard. We've got more driveways coming up. We've still got that car in front of us, and other driveways further ahead. So there could be tractors, as I say, kids, vehicles coming out, cyclists, motorbikes, anything like that. Blind brow of the hill, I can't see anything yet. Now I can, it's opened up. White car coming towards us. The corner's slowly opening as I can see it, so I'm just reaching the apex of the corner. So now I've got a new set of hazards. So now I'm scanning those driveways and those vehicles. And you can even go as far as looking at the driver or the body position of the car. So I'm looking at this white ute now, and I'm thinking, is he in his lane? He's pretty good. If he wasn't, I'm thinking, am I going to have to react to that? Is he asleep? Is he texting? It's more common than you think. Is that person going to actually pose an immediate hazard in my red zone? You can get a lot of that just by looking at the body position or lane position of the vehicle. So here again, scanning new hazards, new driveways, brow of the hill, I don't know what's coming. Even though I know this road, the hazards might change next time we drive it. So up ahead now, 85k corner, I'm in good shape going around the corner, but if someone drunk or coming in my lane around there, we don't know that, no matter how well we know the road. So the hazards constantly change and evolve. Nice and easy now, we get into a nice long straight. You can sort of breathe a little sigh of relief. I'm not saying you need to drive tensed up and looking for everything, but we should be looking way ahead, and then if worst case scenario happens, someone cuts in front of us, someone pulls out, if we've already thought about it, then we should be in a much better position to react faster and do a whole lot safer manoeuvre or whatever we need to do to keep us and our family safe. So now you've seen basically how to do it, or how we teach it and what we suggest. So it shouldn't be stressful. I guess the key to it is, it sounds like there's a lot to do, or it seems a bit overwhelming. There's a lot to take in. We've actually got to drive too, and we've got to think of all these different things that are going on. It shouldn't be stressful. It's not meant to be hard. But if we practice it a couple of times, even if you need to do a bit of commentary, or do a bit of commentary to your family or friends that are sitting beside you, just for a bit of practice, make it a bit of a giggle. You'll actually teach yourself to do it, and all of a sudden you'll be doing it without even thinking about it, which is ideal. Driving should be good, it should be enjoyable, it should be relaxing, it shouldn't be stressful, and searching for hazards will only make us a better driver because we're anticipating that what if, and I hope we never have to use it. Thanks for tuning in.